shocking the whole internet. You are not a psychologist at all. Chapter 211, An Impossible Miscarriage. The viewers all had different opinions, and there was no lack of comments with personal attacks. When a cute baby at home saw the content of the chat, her expression was very unhappy. For a mother, nothing was more important than her child. Dr. Chen, my husband and I are very healthy. The baby we would give birth to must also be a healthy child. Every once in a while, I go to the hospital on time for a prenatal checkup. The results are normal. After I got pregnant, my parents-in-law and husband shared all the housework. I didn't have to do anything every day. In order to avoid possible danger, my family even laid a carpet in the house, afraid that I would suddenly fall. When I go out, there will definitely be someone accompanying me. I really can't think of any reason why I would have a miscarriage. Every word that a cute baby at home said was the truth. When she was found pregnant, her family immediately treated her like a national treasure. Her husband and her parents-in-law had taken the best care of her, with a degree of protection comparable to protecting pandas. The viewers waited for Chen Yu's explanation, not daring to even breathe loudly. "Don't be anxious, dear patient," Chen Yu said calmly. "You misunderstood me. When I said that the child would not be born, I did not mean that you would have an accidental miscarriage." "Then what are you talking about?" A cute baby at home asked unwillingly. "You'll take the initiative to abort the child," Chen Yu said, sighing. "Impossible." A cute baby at home said firmly, "My baby is a treasure given to me by the heavens. Even if a knife is placed on my neck, I will not abort my baby. This baby is my lifeblood, and I can't wait to protect him or her. How could I abort my baby?" "I don't have any doubts about what you said," Chen Yu said. "But from another perspective, for example, if the child had a congenital disease, would you still let him or her come to this world?" As soon as he said this, there was a stunned expression on a cute baby at home's face. The viewers were also stunned. "No, no, no. It won't happen." A cute baby at home shook her head desperately. Her child couldn't have had any problems. "I've done many prenatal checkups, and the results are normal every time. My baby can't have a congenital disease. Impossible." A cute baby at home got up and left the computer. She came back with a large number of documents from her bedroom drawer. After taking the photos to his computer, she showed them to Chen Yu one by one. The examination report proved that the child was normal and that her situation was very good. Looking at the doctor's signature at the bottom corner of the report, Chen Yu said, "The doctor who is responsible for giving you a prenatal checkup, signing, and stamping is your mother-in-law, right?" "How did you know?" A cute baby at home blurted out. Indeed, the doctor who did her prenatal checkup was none other than her mother-in-law. Her husband and family were all high-level intellectuals. Her father-in-law was a university professor, and her mother-in-law was the director of the gynecology department in the hospital. As for a cute baby at home's husband, he worked at a research institute. Crossing his arms, Chen Yu continued unhurriedly, "When your mother-in-law gets off work later, she will tell the whole family that your child has congenital heart disease. And it's the most serious kind. If born, your baby will have to undergo multiple heart correction surgeries, and the success rate is very low. The total cost will be in the millions, and it will be very difficult for your child to live to adulthood. It won't happen. It won't happen. My child is a healthy baby. It's impossible for my baby to have congenital heart disease." A cute baby at home panicked because these words had come out of Chen Yu's mouth. If it were anyone else, there was no need to scold or curse, as she would simply report them to the platform. Her mother-in-law was the director of the gynecology department and had the most experience with prenatal examinations. Her mother-in-law was also in charge of her first few months of prenatal checkups. If the child had congenital heart disease, it was impossible for her mother-in-law not to detect it. If carelessness were to blame, It was possible once or twice, but every time? Dear patient, please calm down. Since you can't accept this for the time being, let's change the topic. Next, I'll ask you some questions about your family. Are you willing to accept my inquiries? Chen Yu asked with a pleasant expression. A cute baby at home frowned and bit her lip. During her pregnancy, a cute baby at home often watched Chen Yu's live stream archives to pass the time and relax. Seeing someone with ulterior motives or someone who had done something wrong reveal their true colors in Chen Yu's live stream, she would always burst into laughter. After watching Chen Yu's live stream many times, she naturally knew Chen Yu's abilities like the back of her hand. She knew that Chen Yu wouldn't spout nonsense. However, she never expected that one day she would become his target. She only entered Chen Yu's live stream to ask about the child's gender to decide on the style of her new house's renovation. However, Chen Yu's revelations were shocking, as he speculated that her child wouldn't be able to survive. He even claimed that her child had congenital heart disease. The whole matter seemed to have something to do with her mother-in-law, who had examined her. The more a cute baby at home thought about it, the more flustered she became. Her brain cells were about to be burned dry from it. After a moment of silence, a cute baby at home affirmed with a complicated voice, "Dr. Chen, go ahead. I'll answer you as truthfully as I can." "All right." Chen Yu nodded. "If I'm not wrong, your relationship with your parents-in-law isn't very harmonious, right?" A cute baby at home's body swayed a little and she nodded. Gently. "My relationship with my parents-in-law is indeed not that great. According to my mother-in-law, my husband should marry a knowledgeable woman of equal social status, not a simple college graduate like me." Her parents-in-law did not like her at first. They had even tried to separate her and her husband more than once. Fortunately, her husband would not marry anyone other than her. He didn't listen to her parents' arrangements to break up with her. Under her husband's insistence, her parents-in-law chose to compromise. After the two of them got married, his father-in-law's attitude towards a cute baby at home changed a lot. There was a smile on his face, and his attitude was much more amiable. He had accepted her as a member of the family. As for her mother-in-law, she still hated her as much as ever. As long as they meet face to face, a cute baby at home's mother-in-law will use all kinds of methods to find trouble with her. At the beginning of their marriage, with the idea of taking a step back, a cute baby at home chose to endure his mother-in-law's rude provocation. In the first 2 months before her pregnancy, her mother-in-law became more and more excessive with all kinds of personal attacks. Having had enough of it, a cute baby at home decided not to tolerate it anymore. She started to fight her mother-in-law head-on. This situation continued until a cute baby at home was found to be pregnant. Since then, her mother-in-law seemed to have changed into a different person. She asked about his well-being every day, and whatever a cute baby at home wanted, her mother-in-law would satisfy it immediately. "I understand." At this point, a cute baby at home exclaimed, "My mother-in-law is taking revenge on me." "That's right, she must be taking revenge on me." As soon as she said that, a large number of question marks appeared in the chat. Chapter 212, The Problem Between Mother and Daughter-in-Law. A cute baby at home knew why the chat was confused. She said with a gloomy expression, "Ever since I started dating my husband, my mother-in-law has been looking down on me. She thinks that a college student like me isn't worthy of her talented son. Marrying me will affect her grandchild's IQ and potential." On my first time visiting my husband's house, my mother-in-law had a cold face from beginning to end. After the meal, I rushed to help her wash the dishes and accidentally broke a plate, and she immediately started acting weird towards me. She mocked me for not having the life of a top student but having the illness of a top student. She mocked the fact that I can't even wash a bowl properly and is a typical example of someone who doesn't work hard. For the sake of my husband, I didn't argue with my mother-in-law. I chose to endure it silently and apologized to her. The next few times I visited, my mother-in-law found trouble with me even more and tried to separate the two of us. Even my father-in-law couldn't stand her actions. Fortunately, my husband is not a mother's boy. He proposed to me under the pressure of his family. In the end, we walked into the hall of marriage hand in hand. On the day of our wedding, in order to disgust me, not only did my mother-in-law not come to the wedding, but she also stopped my father-in-law from coming. At the thought of the wedding without the groom's parents, a cute baby at home, was so angry that she trembled. As a woman of the new era, she wouldn't let herself down. Even if the groom's parents didn't come, the wedding would continue. Anyway, they had already registered. It did not matter if they were not there for the wedding. If her mother-in-law wanted to embarrass her, she would not let her mother-in-law enter her wedding either. If I meet such a mother-in-law, I will make everyone have a hard time in the future. Is there really such a mother-in-law? My mother-in-law is very good to me. If I can find a wife, my parents will cry tears of joy at the wedding. How does her mother feel when she sees that the in-laws aren't coming to the wedding? Living with such a mother-in-law, it's better to die. To treat low blood pressure, you have to come to Dr. Chen's live broadcast room. You can see all kinds of weirdos in the world. Many people who had been through this personally spoke. The relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law has always been a difficult problem. Especially in intellectual families, there were as many rules as there were hairs on an ox. After we got married, my mother-in-law's bad attitude towards me increased. I'm worried that if this continues, my mother-in-law will make me divorce my husband sooner or later. In order to keep my marriage, I've discussed with my husband more than once buying a house and moving out to live our own lives. My husband finally bought a new house this year. With a house that belonged to her and her husband, she felt that there was hope in her life. Her mood gradually improved, and she got pregnant not long after. She felt that this was God's compensation for her patience and had specially given her double the happiness. Her mother-in-law had always opposed the couple buying a house. They thought that this was a waste of money. They had a house that was more than 300 square meters, enough for a few people to live in. Why would they not want to live in a big house and instead buy a small house and move out? It deepened the conflict between the mother and daughter-in-law. She remembered her mother-in-law's vicious look every time she looked at her. A cute baby at home could confirm that her child did not have congenital heart disease and that this was all her mother-in-law tricking her. After giving birth, the couple would move to a new house. For the sake of the house, her mother-in-law not only made trouble for her every day but did not even let her own son off the hook. She mocked her son for forgetting his mother when he had a wife. She viciously attacked a cute baby at home as a vixen. Not only did she steal her son's heart, but she also wanted to steal her son's body. Dr. Chen, is this my mother-in-law's doing? A cute baby at home asked indignantly. First, she let me be a happy mother. Then, she forged the results of the prenatal checkup and would tell me that my child had congenital heart disease. She would then choose a suitable opportunity to tell me the truth and let me live in pain for the rest of my life. The relationship between mother and daughter-in-law had already reached the point where they could not tolerate each other. When a cute baby at home found out the truth, what was the use? A woman's heart is the most poisonous. Don't be so sexist. Her mother-in-law is special. What does it have to do with us women? Could a cute baby at home mother-in-law be the reincarnation of Snow White's stepmother? She's too ruthless. People who use their future grandchildren as tools for revenge are not worthy of being human. Mrs., don't be too sad. At most, just go to another hospital for a prenatal checkup. I don't believe that there's only one hospital in your local area that has a gynecology department. Many female fans sent messages to comfort a cute baby at home. Thank you, everyone. After this consultation is over, I'll change hospitals for another prenatal examination. I won't let her scheme succeed. a cute baby at home, said firmly. While she didn't want to speculate about his mother-in-law's intentions in a vicious way, she couldn't help but think about the current situation. The most painful thing in the world was for a mother to kill her child with her own hands. A cute baby at home had no choice but to assume that her mother-in-law was using this method to take revenge on her. Your mother-in-law does want to take revenge on you, but the method is different from what you think. Chen Yu's words were like a basin of cold water that poured over a cute baby at home. She quivered and said, "Dr. Chen, isn't it the most vicious way to get revenge by making me abort the child myself? Could it be that my mother-in-law has other means of revenge?" "The most vicious method of revenge isn't to force you to abort the child," Chen Yu slowly said. "Instead, it's to make you neither human nor a ghost." "Huh?" A cute baby at home gasped, and her little heart was beating non-stop. She had already started to speculate on her mother-in-law's intentions in the worst possible direction. She had never expected that her mother-in-law's method of revenge was even more vicious than she had imagined. "You guessed correctly that she wanted to take revenge on you," Chen Yu said. "However, you guessed wrong about her methods and the final result she wants." "Forget it, I'll tell you from the beginning." Pausing for a moment, Chen Yu continued, "From the time you underwent your mother-in-law's prenatal checkup, she discovered that your child has a serious congenital heart disease. The baby would be born with a defective heart. Congenital heart disease is divided into 3 levels. For the first 2 levels, the child can be born and undergo postnatal treatment. Your situation is the most serious. According to the professional ethics of a gynecologist, she should have informed you immediately and suggested that you abort the child. But she didn't do that. Using her profession, she quietly tampered with the inspection report. From the time you found out you were pregnant until now, all the checkups have been tampered with. The examination report shows that the child is normal and does not have any illness. This is her first move, and also her most ruthless move in her plan." Chapter 213, The Hatred Between Mother and Daughter-in-Law. Everyone knew that the earlier a pregnant woman aborted her child, the less impact it would have on her body. A cute baby at home was 6 months pregnant. If she aborted her child at this time, it would affect her health to a certain extent. That witch, a cute baby at home, was furious. At 6 months, the baby was basically fully developed. It was a very cruel thing to abort the child at this time. It would also cause unbearable damage to the pregnant woman's body. "Your mother-in-law will tell you the truth at the next prenatal checkup," Chen Yu said. "She will use the malfunction of the equipment as an excuse for your doubts and accusations. You don't have any medical experience. You can't tell if she's telling the truth or not. After that, your mother-in-law will try to persuade you to abort the child immediately. No matter how much you refuse to do it, when you think about how the child will be tortured by illness every day after coming into this world, you will do as your mother-in-law says." While Chen Yu narrated the story, a cute baby at home pulled out her phone and searched for the effects of congenital heart disease on infants. The more she read, the more shocked she became. If a cute baby at home learned that her child had congenital heart disease without knowing the conspiracy of her mother-in-law, she would definitely abort her pregnancy even if she didn't want to. The birth of a baby with a serious illness was a disaster for the baby and the entire family. "Dear patient," Chen Yu said, "if you choose to abort the child, who will you want to perform it?" "Of course it's my mother-in-law." "Heavens!" A cute baby at home raised her hand to cover her mouth. A terrifying scene appeared in his mind. She lay on the cold operating table with her mother-in-law, wearing a mask and holding a scalpel. Behind the mask was a ferocious and terrifying face. No matter what her mother-in-law did to her, there was no way she would notice. While doing a prenatal checkup, she heard her mother-in-law talk to other pregnant women about their abortion, its complications, and its risks. Anything could happen in an abortion surgery. If she chose her mother-in-law to be her doctor, wouldn't she be a lamb waiting to be slaughtered? Her mother-in-law could do some damage to her without anyone knowing. Even if she noticed it later, it could be attributed to the side effects of her abortion. Compared to her mother-in-law, Snow White's stepmother is an angel. Could it be that she and her mother-in-law were enemies in their previous lives? Did they not get their memories wiped when they reincarnated and brought the hatred from their previous lives to this life? If you publicize feudal superstition, be careful that Dr. Chen will ban you. Her mother-in-law wouldn't have done anything like that, right? If she really did it, then she's not a human but a beast. Reading the comments, a cute baby at home's heart almost jumped out of her throat. She stammered, Will she really do such a vicious thing? Yes. Chen Yu replied straightforwardly. Just as some in the chat have guessed, your mother-in-law will use the surgery to destroy some of your organs so that you can never get pregnant again. Abortion itself is dangerous because there are many women who lose their fertility after abortion. What will she do to me after that? A cute baby at home had the heart to kill her mother-in-law at this point. Not only did she harm her grandchild, but she also wanted to make her daughter-in-law infertile. What kind of mother-in-law was she? Your husband is the pride of her life, Chen Yu said. He's also her most perfect creation. Choosing to marry you made your mother-in-law feel that her work had been tarnished. Why would she let you off so easily? Chen Yu's following words once again nearly stopped a cute baby at home's heart. The loss of her fertility was only the beginning of her mother-in-law's revenge. After a cute baby at home was infertile, her mother-in-law deliberately rubbed salt in her wounds by repeating offhand comments that she delivered beautiful babies at work. Her mother-in-law would always make remarks about the cute baby she helped deliver. This was her using soft violence to torture a cute baby at home. This was her using soft violence to torture a cute baby at home. From your behavior after you got pregnant, your mother-in-law knew you liked children very much. She deliberately discussed the babies she met day to day in front of you to further attack you. A cute baby at home cursed heartbreakingly, "Old witch. Did I dig up her ancestral grave or burn her house in my previous life? Just because her son married me, she wants to take revenge on me by hook or by crook. What a demon." A cute baby at home cried. Her mother-in-law was both a woman and a gynecologist. The fact that she personally deprived another woman of her right to be a mother means she would go to the 18th level of hell after death. From a certain point of view, your mother-in-law is actually a pitiful person, Chen Yu said with a sigh. With her ability, her achievements would not have been limited to being the director of her hospital's obstetrics and gynecology department. However, some things can be achieved just because you have the ability. To explain further, in addition to having excellent ability, you would also need a certain range of social networks and support from the higher-ups. Your mother-in-law has run for the position of the hospital's managing director a few times, but she was always pushed out by candidates with more connections. Your mother-in-law knew that she had no hope of getting that position, so she put all her energy into your husband. Your husband didn't disappoint her. He entered a research institute and became an outstanding researcher. In your mother-in-law's heart, her future daughter-in-law must be of equal status to her family and have the ability to help her son reach a higher level. With your appearance, all her dreams were shattered. In your mother-in-law's eyes, your husband marrying you is depravity itself. She believes that your husband chose to give up because he was smitten by you. You destroyed her most outstanding work, and her hatred for you stems from this. The more loving you and your husband get, the angrier your mother-in-law will be. When you couldn't take her bully anymore and fought back, your mother-in-law was certain that you were the jinx of their family and a stumbling block that would affect her son's progress. If she doesn't get rid of you, her son will only be an ordinary researcher for the rest of his life. Ever since your husband bought a new house and wanted to move out with you, this resentment has turned into hatred. A cute baby at home's husband was not a mommy's boy but also opinionated. He would not obey his mother's orders blindly and loved his wife more than himself. Whenever there was an argument between a cute baby at home, and her mother-in-law, her husband would always subconsciously stand by her side. One after another. It increased her mother-in-law's determination to take revenge on her. Even if you can't give birth to a child, your husband will still love you as always, but you might not be able to forgive yourself. For a woman who loves children, losing her fertility and being unable to be a mother is the greatest pain. After listening to the entire story, many emojis appeared on the screen. Chat raised their middle fingers to greet a cute baby at home's mother-in-law. Chapter 214, A Great Show. Dr. Chen, thank you for telling me this. That vicious woman is no longer my mother-in-law, she is my enemy. I will never let her off. After saying that, a cute baby at home thought of something else and pleaded, Dr. Chen, you must have a way to make my baby a normal child. Please help me. I'm willing to accept any price. After saying so, a cute baby at home pushed aside her chair and kneeled. Dear patient, Chen Yu said in a deep voice, if you kneel, I will end this call. You're my patient, and I'm your doctor. Doctors have the responsibility and obligation to help their patients solve their problems. I can help treat your child. I'll send you my WeChat number via private message later. There's a medicine in my shop that can solve your child's heart problem. Thank you, Dr. Chen. A cute baby at home was extremely grateful. After receiving Chen Yu's private message, a cute baby at home quickly added his WeChat number. She then took out 100,000 yuan and transferred it to Chen Yu. She left her address and waited for Chen Yu to deliver her medicines. At this moment, a cute baby at home heard her main door is unlocked. She turned around and looked at the door with a gloomy gaze. The door opened, and a middle-aged woman in her 50s came in with a bag. Her mother-in-law, who had just gotten off work, was stunned when she saw the hateful look in a cute baby at home's eyes. Why are you staring at me like that? Mother, I went to another hospital for a prenatal checkup this morning. Do you know what the doctor told me? Upon hearing this, a cute baby at home's mother-in-law panicked. What did they say? They said that my child has congenital heart disease and suggested I abort it. Mother, you were the one who did the checkups for me before. Every time, you told me my baby was normal. Do you think they misdiagnosed it, or did you misdiagnose it? Why did you come back from work so early? Could it be that you want to tell me that there was a mistake in your inspection and the machine malfunctioned before the inspection? A cute baby at home took 2 steps forward and questioned her mother-in-law aggressively. Her mother-in-law had never dreamed that a cute baby at home would go to another hospital for a prenatal checkup. She also didn't expect her to guess what she would say next. She was speechless when faced with a cute baby at home's questioning. You vicious old witch, I'll fight you to the death. Looking into her mother-in-law's flickering eyes, there was no need for a cute baby at home to ask any more questions. A slap landed on her mother-in-law's face. Slap. Her mother-in-law was stunned and stood rooted to the ground. How dare you hit me? I won't just hit you, I want to strangle you to death. You vicious old witch, we're both women, why do you have to make things difficult for me? A cute baby at home spat with anger. It was your son who pursued me and proposed to me. I have never bewitched your son. After we got married, I endured you again and again, but you never restrained yourself. You either insulted my academic qualifications or attacked me personally. If you hadn't insulted my parents, I wouldn't have talked back to you. Today, I will take revenge. How dare you try to make me infertile for the rest of my life? I'll kill you. The millions of viewers on the live stream were stunned by the scene in front of them. A barrage of comments streamed in the chat. Is this considered catfighting for a man? Fight, fight. What the hell? A cute baby at home's mother-in-law is pretty good at fighting. Why do women always like to grab their opponent's hair when they fight? Can't they just punch? A real fight is always something the masses love to see. I got my drink, a small folding stool, and peanuts with melon seeds ready. Give me a bag of peanuts. Do you have sea salt flavored melon seeds? Damn. They sure are going ruthlessly. At this moment, the popularity of the livestream soared, and the only reason was that it was satisfying to watch someone fight in real life. A cute baby at home slapped her mother-in-law's face. Her mother-in-law quickly returned to her senses and reached out to grab her hair. The two fought, and, a cute baby at home, tore her mother-in-law's dress into rags. Because she had to protect the baby in her stomach, a cute baby at home quickly fell into a disadvantage. Fortunately, she was not easy to deal with. Being pinned down by her mother-in-law, a cute baby at home opened its mouth and bit her arm. Arg! Her mother-in-law screamed like a pig and grimaced in pain. A cute baby at home found an opportunity to get up and kicked her mother-in-law to the ground. Chen covered his face with his hand. What a messy family. After a few consecutive kicks, a cute baby at home was so tired that she panted and took a few steps back. She leaned against the wall and panted heavily. She would have sent the old witch to the hospital if she weren't worried about her baby getting affected. You bitch, I'll fight you to the death. A cute baby at home temporarily stopped fighting, but her mother-in-law reared her ugly head. She picked up her bag on the ground and used it as a sling hammer. A cute baby at home subconsciously raised her hand to block it. Her arm collided with the leather bag, and the things in the bag fell to the ground. Just as a cute baby at home was about to fight back, she saw pieces of paper on the ground. Her mother-in-law also saw the papers on the ground and hurriedly reached to pick them up. Ouch! A cute baby at home lashed out with her hands and scratched her mother-in-law's face until her cheeks were covered in scratch marks. Her mother-in-law, who could not bear the pain, sat on the ground and covered her face. Picking up the papers on the ground, a cute baby at home glanced at the contents. After reading it, a cute baby at home looked in shock at her mother-in-law, who was wiping the blood off her face. Are you two fighting? Coincidentally, a cute baby at home's husband and father-in-law entered the house together. Looking at the scene before them, both father and son were dumbfounded. A cute baby at home's hair was disheveled, and the maternity clothes on her body were almost torn into shreds. Her mother-in-law was in a worse state. Her face had bloody marks, exposing many parts of her upper body. One of her eyes was beaten black and blue, with many footprints on her back. If you two hadn't come back, I would have been beaten to death by her. Son, your wife is crazy. She wants to kill me. A cute baby at home's mother-in-law sat on the ground and lamented. Old witch, I can't believe you have the guts to make a false accusation here. A cute baby at home was exasperated and spat angrily, if you hadn't harmed me, I wouldn't have hit you. You brought this on yourself. What are you two still looking at? Hurry up and call the police. This is outrageous. A cute baby at home's mother-in-law growled. I can't believe my daughter-in-law wants to kill me. I'm going to sue you. I want you to go to jail. Humphrey. A cute baby at home looked at her husband and father-in-law, who were still dumbfounded, and waved the papers in her hand. Go on, call the police. It's best to call all your relatives too. The more people, the better. Why don't we let everyone know what you are? Since you aren't afraid of losing your reputation, I'll accompany you to the end. Chapter 215, Heart Disease is a Small Problem. No, no, no. This is impossible. After reading the paper's contents, a cute baby at home's husband was shocked beyond words. How can my future grandson have congenital heart disease? Her father-in-law was equally shocked. The father and son's expressions became the same again. From the initial confusion, it had turned into shock. It was clearly written on the papers that a cute baby at home's baby had serious congenital heart disease. The doctor suggested that it was recommended that she terminate the pregnancy. Humphrey. Hubby, father-in-law, Why would my baby have congenital heart disease? You should ask her. A cute baby at home was naturally referring to her mother-in-law. Mom, what's going on? Her husband's mind was in a mess. A cute baby at home had done many prenatal checkups, and everything was normal every time. How could his child get diagnosed with congenital heart disease 6 months later? It was too illogical. His mother had worked in the gynecology department for decades and was very experienced. Why didn't they find anything during the previous inspections? There's a problem with the hospital's checkup equipment. The few prenatal checkups your wife did before were all carried out under the condition that there was a problem with the equipment. The results are all wrong. She felt, a cute baby at home, knew something. Otherwise, she wouldn't have the guts to make a move on her. However, the arrow was already on the bow and had to be fired. A cute baby at home's mother-in-law told her husband and son the nonsense she had made up long ago. Not long ago, her hospital's technical staff performed routine maintenance on the examination equipment, and a problem was discovered during the inspection. Due to the negligence of the technicians, they did not inform the hospital about the problem. The last time, a cute baby at home went for a prenatal checkup, the results showed that the child in her womb had congenital heart disease. Only then did her mother-in-law realize that the previous examination data was wrong. Looking at her mother-in-law, lying without batting an eye, a cute baby at home sneered. She raised her hand and gently stroked her stomach. She thought about how to deal with this old witch. I'm going to sue them. A cute baby at home's husband flew into a rage after hearing that. He clenched his fists and rushed out. I've already complained to the relevant departments. You don't have to look for them anymore. The mother-in-law grabbed her son's arm and changed the topic to discuss how she had been beaten up. Your wife couldn't accept this result and thought that I was the one who did it. Look, she hit me. Today, I will not stand for her to be in my house anymore. Ding Shan, if you still treat me as your mother, divorce this whore immediately. Ding Shan, a cute baby at home's husband, felt his heart ache like a knife was twisting it. He couldn't bear to see his mother get hurt, and he couldn't bear to divorce his wife. How did things turn out like this? The father-in-law sighed. It's all because of you. I've told you long ago that our son isn't suitable for her. We absolutely can't marry such an uncultured woman. You could have agreed and listened to my arrangements, but no. I can't stop our son alone, and I can only watch as the jinx enters the door. Ouch. The mother-in-law was too emotional and accidentally affected the wound on her face, causing her to cry out in pain. Honey, I know you can't accept this result right now, but no matter how sad you are, you shouldn't doubt our mother. Ding Shan had a bitter expression. Look at how you beat up our mother. Hurry up and apologize to her. I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? A cute baby at home said with a fake smile, I'll say this. I won't get a divorce. I won't abort the child in my stomach. You're not going to abort the child? You bitch, are you crazy? Her mother-in-law couldn't believe her ears. A cute baby at home knew that the child in her womb had congenital heart disease, the most severe kind. How could she still insist on giving birth? Was the little shrew crazy? If you really can't bear to part with the child, then let's give birth to it. What her mother-in-law did not expect was that her son nodded in agreement. The chat watched intently and knew Ding Shan was a true man. There were many mommy's boys who would subconsciously push the blame on their wives when they encountered something similar. Ding Shan was a reasonable man. When he heard that his wife was preparing to give birth to the child, he did not say anything. While it's not impossible that such a husband exists, it's definitely rare. Silly son, the little shrew's brain is filled with water. Are you stupid too? A cute baby at home's mother-in-law scolded hysterically. The child in her stomach has congenital heart disease. This disease will accompany the child for the rest of his life. After birth, the baby will have to undergo a series of heart surgeries. Every time, The baby will be lingering in circles at the gates of hell. The probability of survival is very low. Ding Shan was about to speak when, a cute baby at home, spoke first. The child in my stomach is my flesh and blood. No one can deprive my baby of their right to live. So what if he or she has a serious congenital heart disease? Medicine is highly developed now. Even cancer can be cured. Heart disease is a small problem. Small problem? A cute baby at home's mother-in-law's nose was about to go crooked from anger. If this were a small problem, there wouldn't be a big problem in the world. Glancing at her shocked mother-in-law, a cute baby at home wore a strange expression. Her mother-in-law was the director of a department in a big hospital. He had been a doctor for many years, so she definitely knew many famous doctors and experts. When her child is born, she will have to trouble her mother-in-law to help find a famous doctor. I heard from other doctors that if you want to completely cure such a heart disease, you need to perform various types of surgery, and the cost is up to millions. If we don't have enough savings, we'll have to consider selling this house. This is my house. What right do you have to sell it? Her mother-in-law wanted to strangle a cute baby at home to death. Even a fool could tell that the little shrew was deliberately dissing her. You're right. The house is yours, but the child in my stomach is your grandchild. Are you going to leave the baby in the lurch? A cute baby at home asked calmly. Sell. We would sell everything to cure the child. Her father-in-law suddenly interrupted. Daughter, you're right. Medicine is so advanced now. There's no illness that can't be cured. As long as our whole family works together, we can definitely make the child healthy again. Her husband, Ding Shan, encouraged her, honey, don't think about anything else from now on. Focus on taking care of our baby. No matter what happens to the child, he is still ours. After saying that, Ding Shan held a cute baby at home's hand determinedly. He cursed himself in his heart for being a coward. The moment he saw the examination results, he actually thought of persuading his wife to abort the child. How could he even think of such a thing? Fortunately, he did not say it out loud. Once he said it, his wife would never forgive him. He would never forgive himself, too. Money was a worldly possession. As long as he could cure his child, he would never give up, even if he had to borrow money. Chapter 216, Mother and Daughter-in-Law Fight. He was a researcher at the Research Institute, and his father was a university professor. His mother was the department director of a hospital. The combined salary of the three of them was about 60,000 yuan a month. Including the savings he had accumulated over the years, he had about 2 million yuan. It was enough for his child to undergo surgery. You guys. Her mother-in-law never dreamed that her husband and son would have such an attitude. Look at her old face. It's almost turning green. Vicious mother-in-law, if you two don't follow the script, this scene won't work. A cute baby at home sure has it tough. A role model for women in the new era. If it were me, I'm afraid I would have cried so hard that I couldn't even look at myself. Sister, I can't believe you've adjusted your mentality so quickly. What does it mean to shoot yourself in the foot? Her mother-in-law is the best example. The chat laughed out loud. A cute baby at home's vicious mother-in-law had a great idea. When a cute baby at home was 6 months pregnant and the baby was gradually taking shape, she would shoot a bolt of bad news. After that, she would use the opportunity of her abortion surgery to destroy her daughter-in-law's body so that she could never be a mother. Now, great. The plan had just begun, but it was already ruined. Mother-in-law, for the sake of our child's future, go and contact the specialist now. If we contact them after the child is born, I'm afraid there won't be enough time. A cute baby at home found a chair and sat down. She lowered his head, fiddled with her nails, and urged his mother-in-law to contact a specialist in a coy voice. When the child was born, he or she would immediately undergo cardiac correction surgery. She came from a small family and only had a college degree, so she wasn't too sure how things worked. But she knew it was a big matter to hire a medical expert, and it should be handled by her knowledgeable mother-in-law, who often deals with big shots. As soon as he said that, the viewers who were eating and drinking spat out their food. Chen Yu couldn't help but shake his head and laugh, too. A cute baby at home was beginning to counterattack. She instantly adjusted her state of mind and made her mother-in-law speechless. "Find your damn doctor." Her mother-in-law, whose face was flushed red, cursed. "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I just said? Even if we operate on the child, he might not survive. I won't find a specialist for you, and I won't sell my house to treat a child who is destined to die. Follow me to the hospital immediately and abort the child in your stomach." Hearing this, a cute baby at home raised her eyebrows and asked, "Hubby, father-in-law, do you also want me to abort the child?" "What?" The child was already 6 months old. If she aborted it now, it would cause serious harm to her body. After his wife became pregnant, Ding Shan read a lot of books about taking care of pregnant women. Abortion was very dangerous, and it was even more harmful to women in the later stages of pregnancy. Although congenital heart disease in infants was difficult to treat, it did not mean that it was a terminal illness. As a father, he would not give up as long as there was a chance. You're also a mother and a gynecologist. Even if others don't understand her, how can you not? Why are you forcing our daughter-in-law to abort the child? A cute baby at home's father-in-law said a few words to his mother-in-law and brought up the matter of the two fighting again. "It's indeed her fault for hitting you, but I'm sure there's a reason. You've been a gynecologist for so many years, how could you not notice if there was a problem with the machine? Now, you're only telling your daughter-in-law that the child in your stomach has congenital heart disease. If it were me, I'm afraid I would also go crazy." "Ding Jiang. From what you're saying, it's all my fault?" The mother-in-law scolded her husband angrily. "So you are saying that I suffered this beating for nothing? Do you want me to apologize to her?" Her husband, Ding Jiango's words, deeply angered her. "I didn't say you were wrong, it's just. After all, our daughter-in-law is pregnant. Can't you wait for us to come back before breaking the news? What if something happens to the child in our daughter-in-law's stomach?" Ding Jiango sighed. The two of them did not give in to each other. It was wrong for a daughter-in-law to hit her mother-in-law, but no matter how angry a mother-in-law was, she should at least consider the situation in front of her, right? A cute baby at home was pregnant. Under such circumstances, how could she retaliate? "Oh my God! What sin have I committed to give birth to a son who doesn't want his mother? Now, even my own husband is not on my side. I might as well just die." A cute baby at home's mother-in-law kneeled on the ground and wailed loudly. Soon, there was a knock on the door. Ding Jiango raised his hand and opened the door. A large group of neighbors stood outside. A cute baby at home's mother-in-law rolled her eyes and immediately came up with a plan. One moment, she was seeking death, and the next moment, she started accusing her family of abusing her. "Everyone, please judge for me. Ever since she got pregnant, I've been treating her the best I could every day. I bought her whatever she wanted. Every time she went out, I followed her around like a servant, afraid that she would bump into something. Yes, I bear some responsibility for the malfunction of the machine, but I'm a doctor, not a technician. We receive so many patients every day. How can we have the energy to pay attention to whether the machine is working normally?" When I realized that the results were wrong, I came back immediately to inform her. Yet, this little shrew didn't distinguish right from wrong and slapped me. I only said a few words to her, and she proceeded to kick and punch me. Look, my eyes were almost blinded by her. She scratched me until I'm disfigured. How is she my daughter-in-law? No, she's a vixen. Fine, let's not talk about this. I kindly advised her to abort the child, but she still insists on giving birth to the child. Babies with heart diseases have a very low survival rate after birth. They have to undergo countless surgeries and spend a lot of money. In the end, we might still lose the child. Is this really a family member? A cute baby at home's mother-in-law was very talented at acting. Her words were capable of making her listeners pity her. The neighbors who didn't know the truth stood by her side. They started blaming a cute baby at home, saying that even if she couldn't accept this terrible news, how could she hit her mother-in-law? A cute baby at home was a little flustered. She had expected her mother-in-law to make a scene, but she did not expect her to provoke the neighbors to stand against her. There were more than a dozen neighbors who came to watch the show. She could not win against all of them. "Little shrew, aren't you eloquent? Why aren't you saying anything now? Are you feeling guilty after knowing that you're wrong?" With the help of the neighbors, a cute baby at home's mother-in-law stood up again. She angrily reprimanded a cute baby at home, venting all the anger in her heart. "Stop talking." A cute baby at home shouted and decided to lay her cards on the table. A moment later, everyone looked at each other and was thoroughly confused. According to a cute baby at home, her mother-in-law had long known that her child had congenital heart disease. She kept it a secret because she wanted to wait for the child to take shape. Once the mother had developed feelings for her baby, she would use this bad news to attack her. She would also personally be responsible for a cute baby at home's abortion operation and destroy her chance at having another baby. "You shrew, how dare you slander me?" A cute baby at home's mother-in-law stomped her feet and cursed. "Slander? I'm sure you know that's the truth." A cute baby at home glared at her mother-in-law fiercely. She pulled her husband, Ding Shan, to the computer. Chapter 217, Why Tolerate Bullies? "Hubby, Dr. Chen told me all this. The millions of viewers in the live broadcast room can prove it. Dr. Chen has already predicted what your mother said. If you don't believe me, you can ask everyone." The viewers who had been watching the live broadcast all sent their comments. They proved that what a cute baby at home said was true. Ding Shan's eyes widened. During a cute baby at home's pregnancy, Ding Shan always watched Chen Yu's live streams with her. Just like a cute baby at home, he was very convinced of Chen Yu's abilities. However, if he believed Chen Yu, it would mean that his mother was that kind of vicious person. Dr. Chen, Ding Shan wanted to hear Chen Yu say it personally, but he couldn't bring himself to ask. "Brother, if you really love your wife, take her and move out of this house. Your wife's life is now in your hands. There's no need to doubt it. Your mother is just that vicious. Your wife has such a good personality. If it were me, I would definitely beat that evil mother-in-law into a hospital and make her sit in a wheelchair for the rest of her life." The viewers sent comments suggesting that Ding Shan should hurry up and move to a new house with his wife. He shouldn't visit too much in the future. In addition, tens of thousands of comments began to mock and curse a cute baby at home's mother-in-law. "Hello, you must be the patient's husband," Chen Yu said calmly. "There are some things that you need to decide on your own. I believe you can make the wisest choice. Son, don't believe that person. He's talking nonsense." A cute baby at home's mother-in-law was exasperated. "They're in cahoots with this shrew. Don't be deceived by them." A cute baby at home turned around and spat, "I'm in cahoots with Dr. Chen? Are the millions of viewers in the live stream also on my side? If I had the ability to make millions of people listen to me, would I have to endure your shit every day? You old witch. Your schemes have been revealed by Dr. Chen. Even if my husband doesn't uphold justice for me, the viewers will definitely help me." A cute baby at home knew that once the live stream ended, what her mother-in-law had done would be spread all over the internet. Faced with the pressure of public opinion, the hospital where her mother-in-law worked would definitely launch an investigation. Just the claim that the machine had malfunctioned wouldn't stand. Ding Shan's entire body trembled. He knew that his mother did not like a cute baby at home. He had always tried to be fair and impartial. Just because he didn't listen to his mother's arrangements, his mother used such a vicious method to take revenge on his wife. God, how did his mother become so terrifying? Ding Jiango's heart was also in turmoil. It was difficult to describe his wife's actions with words alone. Son, Mother, don't say any more. Ding Shan rubbed his face hard and said, I believe that Dr. Chen is not lying to me, and I also believe that what the viewers say is true. You're my mother. I can't sue you, let alone hit or scold you. This matter ends here. I'll pack my things and move to the new house now. Please don't disturb our lives in the future. As for the child's illness, I'll think of a way to treat it myself. In short, I won't spend a single cent of your money, so don't ruin my marriage anymore. If you still want to separate us, don't blame me for cutting off all ties with you. Son, you can't. I brought you up, you can't abandon your mother. She grabbed Ding Shan's hand tightly. Mom really didn't do all these. It's all their slander. His mother cried and begged, but Ding Shan looked unmoved. Just like what a cute baby at home said. Even if she could bribe Chen Yu, she couldn't bribe the millions of viewers on his live stream. Asking millions of people to frame one person was simply a fantasy. It was impossible. Mother, take care of yourself in the future. Ding Shan pulled his hand out and held a cute baby at home with his other hand. The husband and wife looked at each other and quickly walked out of the room. A cute baby at home's mother-in-law sat on the ground and sobbed. The neighbors who had once stood by her side to reprimand a cute baby at home looked at her with disgust. It was common for mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law to be at odds. Out of 10 households, at least 6 of them had such a situation. However, what she had done was too much. Neighbors, I'm sorry for our family making a fool of ourselves. Please head back for now. Ding Jiango sent the neighbors away. After a while, a cute baby at home, and Ding Shan packed their luggage and walked out without looking back. Son, come back. Bang. As the security door was closed, a cute baby at home's mother-in-law's face was as ferocious as a ghost. It's all your fault, it's all your fault. I'll kill you all. If her son no longer cared about her, her husband would probably not live with her anymore. Her mother-in-law grabbed the chair and smashed it against the computer. Boom. The computer was smashed into pieces. The call ended. The heavens will punish those who are despicable. A cute baby at home is sure a tough woman. I'm almost falling in love with her. It would be good if there were more girls like a cute baby at home in society. We're all raised by our parents. Why should we swallow our pride when we're harmed by others? Yeah, you should retaliate fiercely. A cute baby at home's husband is a good man, but that doesn't mean he's a good son. How can he deny his mother just like that? Hey, which hospital did this retard come out from? I wish this retard will meet such a mother-in-law when you get married in the future. As the first consultation ended, the viewers got to watch a live-streamed fight and family drama. They were all happy. In the face of these retards who were still on a cute baby at home's mother-in-law's side, chat went all out in cursing them. These people instantly disappeared after the barrage of comments dissing them. In the eyes of normal viewers, there was nothing wrong with a cute baby at home teaching her mother-in-law a lesson. The younger generation had to respect their elders, but not all elders were worthy of respect. They were all humans, so why should they tolerate being bullied? As a doctor, a cute baby at home's mother-in-law did not have the slightest bit of compassion that a doctor should have. Instead, she used her position to commit heartless acts against her daughter-in-law. She's a waste of resources while alive and a waste of land when dead. She should evaporate from this world as soon as possible. Everyone, stop it. Let's invite the next patient. Chen Yu tapped his table. Oh, Is this kind of cosplay popular now? Is he really a monk? Even monks are watching live streams now. Looking at his broad and fat body, he must be a high-ranking member in his temple. Master, is your temple going to be listed? Do you have a stock code? I'll buy a few shares. Amitabha, Buddha doesn't save poor people, only the rich. The viewers had just gotten tired of their enjoyment of family drama and were immediately stunned by the appearance of the second caller. The person that appeared on the screen was a fat man with no hair on his head. It was an old man wearing a kasaya who had prayer beads around his neck. Chapter 218, Self-Gratification, Releasing 5 Paste Vipers. From the looks of it, he looked like a monk in a temple. His online name was Merciful Flight Purdu. Amitabha. Merciful Flight Purdu had a kind smile on his face as he chanted a Buddhist prayer. "Dear patient, how can I help you?" Chen Yu asked expressionlessly. Good, good. This penniless monk is here to save you." The moment he said that, the viewers almost burst out laughing. What was going on? Was this monk turning the tables and trying to cure Chen Yu? Old viewers all knew that Chen Yu was more like a diviner who could predict the future than a psychologist. A fat monk saving a diviner. What kind of script is this? "How are you going to save me, dear patient?" Chen Yu asked with a faint smile. With a solemn expression, Merciful Flight Purdu said, "Almsgiver Chen, you've exposed the past of others several times and unknowingly violated verbal karma. In the long run, it will definitely bring disaster to you. I can't bear to see you continue this. I'll help you out of your sea of suffering." The viewers were stunned when they heard this. A barrage of comments flooded in. "Brothers, why do I feel like the old monk is here to start trouble? Be more confident and remove the word feel. I'm sure this monk is here to borrow Dr. Chen's stream to go viral. Damn, everyone wants to take advantage of Dr. Chen. I didn't expect even monks to be so materialistic. So what if he's a monk? Ordinary people can't even become one if they want to. Our temple is looking for a novice monk. You must be under 35 years old, have a master's degree or above, and be proficient in 3 foreign languages. Are you sure you're looking for a monk?" Looking at the comments in the chat, the corners of Merciful Flight Purdu's mouth twitched slightly. Sigh. Merciful Flight Purdu heaved a long sigh and said in a compassionate tone, "Almsgiver Chen, exposing the privacy of the previous woman and mother-in-law was a grave mistake. Even if the elderly have done something wrong, we should be understanding. As the saying goes, don't raise your voice against the elderly. Your actions this time and in the past will definitely be met with karma in the future. You don't have to worry about whether I'll suffer karma or not," Chen Yu said with a faint smile. "But your troubles are coming soon. This penniless monk knows that honest advice is unpleasant to the ear. It's fine if Almsgiver Chen doesn't like it. However, you must not repeat the same thing again, lest you implicate your relatives." "Dear patient," Chen Yu interjected with a smile, "have you been feeling an unbearable itch recently?" Merciful Flight Purdu was stunned. "Not only do you have a mental illness, but you also have a very serious physical illness. Do you need me to treat you?" Chen Yu asked. Amitabha. This penniless monk worships Buddha daily. With Buddha's blessing, how can I fall sick? Merciful Flight Purdu put his palms together. Since you worship Buddha daily, why don't you recite a passage of scripture and let me experience the profoundness of Buddhism? Chen Yu asked playfully. Good. Since Almsgiver Chen wants to hear it, this penniless monk will recite it. As he spoke, Merciful Flight Purdu closed his eyes and muttered something. He does seem like an actual monk at this point. Is he reciting Buddhist scriptures or singing? Why does it sound so weird? It sounds a little familiar. I have the same feeling. I think I've heard it before. Pleasant goat, beautiful goat, don't think that I'm just a sheep. Wait a minute. This old man is singing the theme song to a cartoon. I can sing Buddhist scriptures too. Listen, Shaolin Kung Fu is good, really good. I have diamond legs, and he has an iron head. The Song of Blessing and Longevity. Pog. Merciful Flight Purdue, who had his eyes closed, continued to chant. The viewers were about to go crazy from laughing. Merciful Flight Purdue looked like a real monk, but he was reciting a cartoon theme song. After reciting his song, Merciful Flight Purdue opened his eyes and said, Almsgiver Chen, the Buddhist sect is always open to you, and there is no one who cannot be converted. Wait a moment. Chen Yu interrupted Merciful Flight Purdue, and asked again, are you sure you don't need treatment? This penniless monk has Buddha's blessing. Don't worry about me, Almsgiver Chen. Buddha can't help you escape from prison. You released quite a number of animals not long ago, didn't you? Chen Yu laughed coldly. How did you know? Merciful Flight Purdue was shocked. What he usually liked to do the most was set captured animals free in the wild. I'm a professional psychologist, Chen Yu said. Through conversations with others, I can observe the patient's facial expressions and determine what the patient has done in the past. Calling herself a monk is a little ambitious. 3 years ago, you had a sudden idea. You bought a house in the suburbs and renovated it into a temple. You also bought a kasaya, a makuja, a Buddha statue, and other things. In order to make a name for yourself, you often participate in freeing animal activities. Not long ago, you brought a group of men, women, and children to buy hundreds of 5-paced vipers from a snake dealer. You release them to the botanical garden not far from your small temple. As soon as Chen Yu finished speaking, a portion of his audience nearly exploded. Old bastard, no wonder so many poisonous snakes appeared in the botanical garden. So it was you. I've heard about it too. About a month ago, it was on the trending searches. Freeing captured animals? Why don't you set free your cash and gold bars? Most of these releasing acts are just for self-gratification. These people are just bored. If they starve for 3 days, they can even eat these animals raw, let alone set them free. Once, I went fishing. I released fish upstream and then went fishing downstream. It was a perfect cycle. He's always saying Amitabha with his mouth, but I doubt he is actually compassionate. Other than the mocking viewers, there were also quite a few viewers who explained that 5-paced vipers were extremely venomous, commonly known as the king of rotten meat. If the antidote serum were not injected immediately after being bitten, it would cause serious damage to the body. It was dangerous, even just being around these snakes. Others ran businesses without a license, while Merciful Flight Purdue ran a temple without a license. Many viewers thought that he was doing business by opening a temple and setting free animals. Many of them came from the same area as Merciful Flight Purdue. They wanted to rush to him through the internet and give the old man a few tight slaps. One day last month, there was a snake disaster in the botanical garden. A large number of citizens who went there were bitten. The most miserable were a young man and woman who were about to get married. When she happily went to take their wedding dress photos, a few 5-paced vipers jumped out of the grass and bit them. The 2 of them were still lying in the hospital. Humans and animals are all living beings in the world, and so are vipers. Animals also have the right to live where humans live. Merciful Flight Purdue spoke with assurance. The animals you set free aren't just these few hundred snakes, Chen Yu said with a smile. There are more than just a couple of local citizens who want to settle scores with you. Chen Yu raised his hand and pinched his fingers. A conservative estimate is that there are about a few hundred people who want to beat you up. Chapter 219, Releasing Longevity Snails. No one knew when it started, but freeing animals had become popular in the country. From time to time, there would be news reports about a large number of invasive species appearing in certain places, or animals that pose a serious threat to humans. Merciful Flight Purdue released hundreds of venomous 5-paced vipers into his nearby botanical garden. Instead of accumulating merit, he lacked virtue. Anyone who had been to the botanical garden knew that the main tourists were children. My dad is obsessed with setting animals free. We have argued several times, but he still doesn't listen. Congratulations. You are about to be kicked out of your father's loving family. If it really doesn't work, why don't you suggest setting free some bottles of mineral water? At least there's no harm. Did someone really set free bottles of mineral water before instead of animals? The old bald donkey chanted Amitabha while doing harmful acts. Since everything should be free, why don't you free yourself into a river? Dr. Chen, this isn't the only wicked thing that the old man has done, right? Some of the smarter viewers immediately reacted. Chen Yu said that hundreds of people wanted to settle scores with Merciful Flight Purdue. Obviously, this was not the only immoral thing he had done with the excuse of setting animals free. Nodding at the questions from his viewers, Chen Yu said, search according to the city where his IP address is located, and add the word alligator gar. That will tell you the answer. Hearing this, countless people opened their internet browsers. A moment later, the chat was about to explode with anger. They were all shocked and angry when they learned what had Merciful Flight Purdue done. A few days ago, a park in the city near Merciful Flight Purdue had a large-scale operation to drain the lake water. The park had mobilized hundreds of staff and more than a dozen water-pumping trucks. It drained nearly 300,000 cubic meters of water from an artificial lake in the park, just to catch a few strange fish. The strange fish had a strange name, alligator gar. According to the news, the alligator gar was a large, exotic creature. They were about 3 meters long and were very aggressive. During the capturing process, many staff members were bitten by him. When the alligator gar entered the lake, it was almost invincible and had an immeasurable destructive effect on the ecology. There were a lot of toxins and parasites in its body. Without any understanding, fishing it out and eating it would cause very serious harm to the human body. The reporter who reported the incident also mentioned the many alligator gar invasions in the country. These incidents had a common characteristic. Humans released these alligator gars that appeared in any body of water. In addition to the alligator gar, this patient has also organized groups of people to release channeled apple snails, commonly known as longevity snails, in the farmland many times. It was because the snail has longevity in its name. Ever since he proclaimed himself as the monk of his temple, he has organized dozens of freeing animal activities. Half of these activities have caused serious ecological impacts on the local area. Chen Yu briefly talked about the few times Merciful Flight Purdue had set those animals free. Any viewer who was in the same place as Merciful Flight Purdue was furious. They could not wait to rush over to where he was and beat him up. Even the viewers outside the local area had the urge to slap Merciful Flight Purdue. The longevity snail was introduced into the country as an edible snail, but the taste was really bad. At the same time, it was very easy for the snails to feed on crops. Any farmer would harbor a hatred for longevity snails. This was because the longevity snail especially liked to eat rice. Amitabha. Chat, you're too ugly. Merciful Flight Purdue put his palms together and said solemnly, all living things in the world have their own habits. Our Buddha is merciful and saves all living beings in the world. How can we abandon them just because of their natural habits? Longevity snails eat crops, and alligator gars eat the fish in the lake due to their ignorance, so they don't have any sense. I led my believers to set them free. On one hand, it was to accumulate good karma for myself, and on the other hand, it was to stimulate the body hearts of these animals. Man is the spirit of all living things, and our sins are deep. Those fish that were eaten were sinful humans in their previous lives. The viewers looked at each other. According to Merciful Flight Purdue, not only was he doing the right thing by releasing all kinds of harmful invasive species, but humans who did something wrong would become fish or other small animals in their next life for these invasive species to eat. Was this the so-called retribution? Almsgiver Chen, you said that I led my believers to set free the animals and that it was an evil act. I released animals to help my believers accumulate blessings. All living beings are equal, and we should not be prejudiced. Merciful Flight Purdue was still spouting nonsense and twisting facts. Chad couldn't hold it in anymore. Releasing invasive species to destroy the ecosystem and hurt others to accumulate merit? You might as well go to the 18th level of hell. If you want to accumulate virtue and do good deeds, you can do volunteer work. These people are such hypocrites. To add on, many alligator gars are raised as pets. Their owners can't afford to raise them anymore, but they can't bear to give them away, so they choose to release them. Also, it's not illegal to raise alligator gar, and it's legal to import them. They're technically considered a foreign species, but not an invasive species. The main reason is that the punishment is not harsh enough. There are no relevant punishments for releasing them into the wild. These people are often selfish bastards behind their backs. Those who participate in freeing animal activities are those middle-aged and old people who are rich and bored. They have done bad things when they were young, and they only started to believe in Buddhism once they grew old. It's mainly because they are dumb and bored enough. Merciful Flight Purdue's face twitched. He wanted to get angry, but he was afraid that he would lose his demeanor. No, no. There are not only old people among my believers, but also many young people like you. These people have accumulated a large amount of merit by setting animals free. Not only did their health improve, but their families also benefited from it. One of my believers had been suffering from depression before. Ever since he converted to Buddhism, not only did his depression disappear, but his personality also became cheerful and sunny. The world is ignorant and often makes mistakes with biased generalizations. I still have a long way to go in the great task of spreading Buddhism. As soon as he finished speaking, a woman's voice came from the live broadcast room. Master Purdue, everyone is here. When should we set off? Following the voice, a slim and elegant young girl appeared on the screen. Ahu, you came at the right time. Almsgiver Chen questioned the good deeds we did, along with the majority of the viewers in his live stream. Why don't you tell everyone about what happened to you and let everyone understand the compassion of Buddha? I'll go out and talk to the volunteers about the next enlightenment operation. Merciful Flight Purdue whispered a few words to Ahu. Ahu nodded repeatedly and watched Merciful Flight Purdue leave. Chapter 220, Top of the Food Chain. Hello, Dr. Chen. Hello, chat. My name is Ahu. I'm a volunteer at the temple. I used to suffer from severe depression. Ever since I came to the temple as a volunteer, not only did I recover, but I also became optimistic and cheerful. You shouldn't have doubted Master Purdue. Master Purdue is a prominent monk with profound Buddhist dharma and a heart for all living beings. I hereby implore everyone to stop doubting Master Purdue and stop doubting our act of setting animals free. Everything we do is to make the world a better place. Immediately after, Ahu made a shocking statement that stunned the viewers. The reason they kept releasing them was because of the greed of humans. If there were no buying and selling, there would be no killing. In order to satisfy humans' appetites, a large number of living creatures became dishes. Not only did Ahu request everyone to join the animal release operation, but she also requested everyone to give up meat and fish and switch to vegetarianism. As more and more people choose to be vegetarian, there will be fewer and fewer situations where living beings will be harmed. When all humans stopped eating meat, the world would become harmonious and beautiful. Eating meat would not only create the karma of killing, but it would also attract a large amount of hostility to oneself. The reason the world was in turmoil was because of hostility. I beg of everyone. If we want the world to become a better place, each of us should contribute our part. Don't continue to be indifferent. Start with yourself. Join our animal-freeing operation and give up on eating meat. Don't eat meat anymore to avoid falling victim to terrible karma. Everyone, please respect life and respect the right of other living beings to live." After saying that, Ahu actually kneeled on the ground. She kowtowed to the computer screen. The educated viewers were completely at a loss. What was this? An old fraudster had left, and a young fraudster had come. And from the looks of it, the girl had already fallen deeply into her religious act. What she had said and her act of kneeling were completely for self-gratification. When Merciful Flight Purdue was there just now, he had only defended their so-called animal release operation. When Ahua came, she doubled the craziness of the situation. Not only did she want everyone to support their action, but she also wanted the viewers to stop eating meat. What kind of drug did Merciful Flight Purdue give Ahua? How could her brainwashing be this thorough? Respect life? It's my greatest respect to eat all the meat in my bowl. Don't eat the vegetables. They're alive too. I don't eat meat, I want to set them free. Not only do you have to follow me, but you're also not allowed to eat meat. What a saint. I feel like the word saint has been blasphemed by her. My ancestor spent tens of millions of years climbing to the top of the food chain, and now you're telling me to go back to being a vegetarian? If you don't let me eat meat, can I eat you? Originally, I was still hesitating whether I should have seafood pot tonight. Thank you for your determination, miss. I'll call and reserve a table now. Ahua's kneeling completely infuriated the viewers. Regardless of whether it was trolls or not, they all mocked her for her idiocy. Humans have spent tens of millions of years climbing to the top of the food chain. They possessed intelligence that surpassed all living beings on Earth. Humans did not do all that just to become vegetarians again. Nor to listen to this nonsense. The viewers didn't object to releasing animals, but they were against brainless release. If releasing venomous snakes and alligator gar wasn't a sin, then what was? As for being a vegetarian, eating or not eating meat is a personal wish. Don't use disrupting world peace to label meat eaters. Everyone was annoyed. Sigh. Chanu, who had remained silent, sighed. Miss, do you really think that Merciful Flight Purdue cured your depression? When I was in high school, my parents didn't allow me to do anything other than study, Ahua stood up and said. Under their strict management, my academic performance has improved, but my mentality deteriorates by the day. On the day I received the university admission notice, I chose to commit suicide at home. I have fulfilled my parents' wishes, so it's time for me to leave. I want to leave this world that has nothing to offer me. My pet dog noticed and barked loudly, attracting my parents' attention. They found out that I had attempted suicide and sent me to the hospital. After an examination, I found out that I suffer from severe depression and anxiety. During the second follow-up, I met Master Purdue, who was arguing with the hospital's person in charge. I felt Master's words were very reasonable, so I couldn't help but chat with him. Thinking of her first encounter with Merciful Flight Purdue, Ahua couldn't help but smile. If she hadn't met Merciful Flight Purdue, she would probably have died. Hearing this, Chenu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. 64%. Seeing Chenu's expression, many viewers felt that there was definitely a scandal in there somewhere. One after another, the chat sent comments asking Chenu why Merciful Flight Purdue was arguing with the hospital's person in charge. What did he say to brainwash Ahua? The hospital she's doing her checkup at is affiliated with a local medical school, Chenu said with a smile. In addition to treating patients and saving lives, the hospital also carries out various scientific research activities. Merciful Flight Purdue went to look for the person in charge of the hospital to buy the lab rats used by the hospital's experiments. As for the purpose, it's to set them free. The viewers were dumbfounded. Releasing venomous snakes and alligator gar was already strange enough. Merciful Flight Purdue actually wanted to set free the lab rats for experiments. It would be strange if the hospital agreed to that. If releasing the alligator gar or venomous snake would destroy the environment and affect the safety of humans, releasing the lab rats used for experiments would be deadly and dangerous to humans. Who knew what kind of medical experiments had been done on these lab rats? What if it was eaten by other animals, resulting in genetic mutations, and then eaten by humans? It was a doomsday scenario, an apocalypse waiting to happen. Is there a possibility that Merciful Flight Purdue is not setting free the animals but is carrying out some kind of secret sacrificial activity? Sacrifice to our Lord and Savior, Thuldu. Some people would rather believe an old charlatan like Merciful Flight Purdue than believe that I am Qin Shi Huang. 2 days ago, I went fishing at the reservoir. Guess what I caught? 10 lovely koi. Merit points -100. Brothers, I've discovered a little trick to make a fortune. Run to the temple entrance to sell fish, wait until they buy the fish, then follow them to the place where they set the fish free and catch it back. Then, continue to sell it at the temple, and the cycle will repeat itself. The next richest person in the world will be you. Holy, the algorithm is sure powerful. They sent me a video of someone releasing a truck of stray cats in the suburbs. Glancing at the various comments, Chanu cleared his throat and said, "Miss, you feel that your so-called good deeds have cured your depression, but it's actually just a form of self-comfort. According to psychology, this is a placebo." Thank you for watching. For more videos and novels, do like, share and subscribe.